Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the podcast. And today I'm going to go my review of AEW's Dynamite. Starting off the evening, we go to our first match of the night. It is the Commander versus Chris Jericho. I thought it was a good match, back and forth matchup between the Commander and Jericho, with the Commander hitting a Hurricane Rana on Jericho. Jericho gets up, lands a devastating brainbuster on the Commander in the middle of the ring. Commander then gets up, hits a handspring into a head scissor on Jericho. Commander then hits a springboard shooting star press on Jericho for a near fall. Commander then hits a springboard Phoenix splash on Jericho as well. Jericho then gets up, applies a Walls of Jericho on the Commander. Commander taps out, and your winner of the match is Chris Jericho. After the match, Don Callis makes his way down to the ring. Callis talks about Jericho possibly joining his family. Then Don Callis plays a video on the Titantron showing earlier years of Jericho's career. Even shows Bad News Brown. It looked like Don Callis was trying to do whatever he can. Well, trying to do whatever he can to recruit Chris Jericho. I don't know if that's going to be, the case or not. Throughout the night, you had, Garcia and Guevara. They had a match as well, coming out to their own entrances, and they also had a backstage segment with Jericho last night with Jake Hager, and it looked like Hager was pretty much walking away from the JAS. So it's still yet to be determined what's going to happen with Jericho. Especially pertaining to Don Callis. But the match itself with the Commander last night was a really good matchup. But right now, everything's really up in the air with what Jericho is going to be doing next. But hats off to Chris Jericho for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is a tag team blind eliminator tournament matchup. It is Orange Cassidy teaming up with Darby Allin versus Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. I thought it was a good matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin keeping the pace of the match. Darby then hits a code red on Guevara. Orange Cassidy then hits a Tyler driver for a near fall. Garcia then applies a Dragon Tamer, but the hold is broken. Darby then hits a stunner. Darby and Guevara then both exchange. Prince Nana is here, which causes a distraction with the referee. Swerve then attacks Darby Allin, which allows Guevara to hit the GTH. Pins for the 3. And your winners of the match are Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Hats off to Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It's another tag team blind eliminator tournament matchup. It is MJF teaming up with Adam Cole versus Big Bill and Brian Cage. Number one, man, the stuff that MJF and Adam Cole has been doing has been absolutely awesome. The vignettes, the skits that have been played here for the past couple weeks have been absolutely hilarious. I think this week they had MJF and Adam Cole in a bar having some shots and stuff like that. And then MJF and Adam Cole obviously playing the AEW Fight Forever game, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. The match itself was a really good matchup. Back and forth matchup between both teams, with MJF hitting a body slam on Big Bill. MJF then hits a heat seeker as well. Cole then goes for the finish, pins for the 3. And your winners of the match are MJF and Adam Cole. Hats off to MJF and Adam Cole for getting the win in this matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is an Owen Hart Cup tournament semifinal matchup. It is Ruby Soho versus Sky Blue. I thought it was a good match. Back and forth matchup between Ruby Soho and Sky Blue, with Ruby Soho keeping the pace of the match. Ruby ultimately hits her signature No Future on Sky Blue, pins for the 3. And your winner of the match, and moving on to the finals in the Owen Hart Cup tournament, is Ruby Soho. Hats off to Ruby Soho for getting the win in that matchup. Moving on from that, we go into our next match of the night. It is Nick Wayne versus Swerve. This was Nick Wayne's AEW debut. Although the match itself was a good match, back and forth matchup between Wayne and Swerve, with Wayne hitting a fisherman suplex on Swerve. Wayne then hits a Hurricane Rana off the top rope on Swerve as well. Darby is here trying to cheer on Nick Wayne. Wayne then hits a Poison Rana off the top rope as well. Swerve then hits a devastating powerbomb on Nick Wayne in the middle of the ring. And then Swerve ultimately hits the finish, pins for the 3, and your winner of the match is Swerve. A couple things I want to say about this matchup. Number one, solid matchup. Really good debut by Nick Wayne. I know he's done work with Darby Allin. Obviously, he's done some work over in Defy as well. Very good talent, man, to be honest with you. I mean, sky's the limit for Nick Wayne. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Tony Khan has signed him to a contract and he is officially All Elite, which I think is absolutely fantastic. He's a really good wrestler, man. I thought it was a great debut by Nick Wayne. He's still very young, so he has a lot of time underneath his belt to build on the craft that he already has now, as far as his in-ring ability. I think he's a fantastic addition to AEW, and I think sky's the limit for Nick Wayne, man. And I look forward to what's going to happen next with Nick Wayne in AEW. Moving on from that, we had the huge announcement of who's going to be the mystery partners for both the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. Don Callis walks down to the ring. He mocks Kenny Omega. Omega then tries to walk down to the ring. He's attacked by the Blackpool Combat Club, and then he's also attacked by none other than Pac. Pac ends up joining the Blackpool Combat Club as the 5th member in the Blood and Guts match. Omega then is in the middle of the ring getting beat up by the Blackpool Combat Club and Pac, and then he announces that the 5th member is none other than Kota Ibushi. There was a Titan video package played on the Titantron of Kota Ibushi. The Golden Elite are now reunited, which is absolutely awesome. A couple things I want to say about Dynamite before I get out of here, man. Number one, it was a great show. I thought it was a solid show last night. Again, a lot of storylines are being built. Jericho, nobody really knows what's going on with Jericho right now. Is he going to join Don Callis? Is he going to stay with his stable, the JAS? It's still yet to be determined, man. But I think it's definitely have a lot of people talking right now. It's one of the best storylines going on, in my honest opinion, in AEW. The other thing I want to get into, honestly, is Adam Cole and MJF, man. Like I stated earlier, man, the stuff that MJF and Adam Cole have been doing has been absolutely phenomenal. These video skits that they've been doing. I think last week they were talking about the T-shirt, that MJF created. This week, like I said, they were at a bar taking shots, stuff like that, and then obviously playing the AEW Fight Forever game, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. They're obviously talking about the finish in their matches with the double clothesline. Still yet to be seen, but hopefully we'll get that double clothesline here soon. I just think it's fantastic stuff between MJF and Adam Cole, man. The sky's the limit for that stable. And honestly, I would not be opposed to seeing MJF and Adam Cole teaming up, going up against FTR possibly for the AEW Tag Team Championships, man. I'm all for that, 100%. Ruby Soho, gets the finish over Sky Blue. She's now in the finals in the Owen Hart Cup tournament. I think she will go up against the winner between Willow Nightingale and Athena. If I had to honestly guess who will be the last 2 women in that tournament, would be Ruby Soho, obviously. And I believe it's going to be Willow Nightingale, man. I think Willow Nightingale, the body of work that she's put in with AEW, she held the New Japan Strong Women's Championship as well. I have a lot of high praise for Willow Nightingale, man. I think she's absolutely fantastic. She's a great addition to that roster. And I think sky's the limit for her, man, to be honest with you. And I think the finals, if I had to predict it, is going to be Ruby Soho versus Willow Nightingale. And hopefully Willow Nightingale gets the victory over Ruby Soho and becomes the new Owen Hart Cup tournament champion. The other thing I want to get into as well is Nick Wayne. Fantastic debut by Nick Wayne in AEW. Obviously, he's had some matches under his belt with working with Defy. He's also wrestled Swerve a couple times as well prior to this matchup last night. He's a fantastic talent, man. He's still young. There's still a lot of time for him to build his craft in professional wrestling. He can put on fantastic matchups with that AEW roster. A couple names come to mind: Sammy Guevara, Daniel Garcia, Ray Phoenix. Those are a couple matches that I would not be opposed to seeing Nick Wayne in those kind of matchups, man. I think the guy has a lot of talent, and he'd be obviously a great addition to the AEW roster. And obviously, the main event, if you will, the big segment towards the end of the night is the announcement of the mystery partners for both the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. To be honest with you, I was a little surprised by Pac showing up last night to join the Blackpool Combat Club. I know, him and Kenny Omega have a lot of history and put on phenomenal matchups. Number one, it's great to see him back. He's been off the scene for quite a while. It's great to see him back in the fold with AEW again. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But I was a little taken back by Pac showing up and joining the Blackpool Combat Club. I thought for sure it was probably going to be Jericho or something like that. Kota Ibushi, again, it was one of those things where it was AEW's worst kept secret, to be honest with you. I think everybody, leading up to tonight pretty much knew that it was going to be Kota Ibushi. It was heavily rumored for a while. Obviously, he had some, issues with New Japan, and he was pretty much a free agent. So a lot of people were kind of putting the two and two together. Obviously, there's a lot of lineage between Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, former tag team, former tag team. Obviously, Ibushi's worked with the Elite, with Adam Page and the Young Bucks as well. So, I mean, all the stars aligned for Kota Ibushi to be joining the Elite in the Blood and Guts match that's taking place next week at the TD Garden, man. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And the other reason why I was surprised by Pac joining the Blackpool Combat Club, and I might be the only person thinking about this at the time, but I thought for sure it was going to be Jericho due to the fact that, every single time we've had these Blood and Guts matches, Jericho was a big part in those matches. He was, I think, in every single one except for this one this year. So with Don Callis trying to recruit Jericho, I really thought that Jericho was going to be the fifth member for the Blackpool Combat Club leading into this match with the Elite. So, again, awesome to see Pac back. Great to see that Kota Ibushi's coming over, even though it might be a one-off. To join the Elite in this matchup against the Blackpool Combat Club at Blood and Guts will be absolutely awesome, man. And like I stated earlier, I think AEW this summer is going to be absolutely incredible for AEW. They got that big show in Wembley with All In. I think literally a week after that, we have All Out in September. So it's going to be a crazy, crazy summer for AEW. But with that being said, this is my review of AEW's Dynamite. I hope you guys are out there staying safe. Be careful, and remember, stay classic. Peace.